By getting Krishna, we have everything. By getting Krishna, we get everything. No lack.
Prahlad Maharaj told something like that, no, Maharaj?
I'm sorry?
Prahlad Maharaj, when he being asked to study, this all, Maharaj, what is better that there is person and better it's private. Okay, Haryananda is saying something. It's okay, Haryananda. He wants to stay, keep his identity like that. No problem. So, actually, I have heard that Prahlad Maharaj was telling to his gurus that who were teaching him Sonda and Amarko, those who want to teach him economics and all these things. Then he told that I am chanting the name of that source of all Vidya is Vishnu. So I am chanting his name. I absorbed in his memory, remembering his pastime. So what else I have to again study all these things, because he is the source of everything, something like that.
Yes. There's one Sanskrit verse I cannot remember. It says that.
Jasmin gyate sarva vigyatam bhavati. Srila Master. By knowing whom, you know everything.
Okay. Thank you. You have a good memory. All right. So, shall we begin our Vadana? Vadanam? Vadana first? Huh? We'll skip the kirtan because my energy is limited right now. I think it's page 38.
Yeah.
Krishna Dandavat Pranam Maharaj.
Oh, Om Devi Hari Bol.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Dhanyavad. Vandeham Ducham Kamalam
Krishna Padan
Devam Divyam
Bhavanam
Varajalajitam Chandrananda Puransareva Varanamrayagabhida Puri
Shri
Jantanini Bhakti Lasitam Saraswatam Param
Vande
Vandegam Shubhanamadeva Saranam Yasishwaram Sridharam
Shri Siddhanta Saraswati
Saraswati
Jodhiya
Vidam Vaye Bhatuvanurita
Gaura Sankirtanaya
Sayavadami Yodara Ragavidya
Krishna
Krishna Prema Shuvadiganam
Bhakti
Bhaktaram Vaje Namo Gaura Kishoraya Bhakta Avaditamutaye Om Giri Bhavindaya Radha Baba Vishwamine Bhakti Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Satrayana Rasa Rasa Nandini Gaura Vajaya Vainavi Vainavi Jagannath Vande Srimati Vaishnavam Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Panchatattvam Krishnam Bhaktarupasarupakam Bhaktavanam Bhaktavyam Namami Bhaktasastikam Namo Bhagavate Krishna Premagate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Name Gaura Sri Namaha Jayanta Suraja Pambhor Mama Manda Mate Gati Masarvanta Paramboda Radhamada Mohanam Divya Vradaya
Singa Sri Gandhar
Smarami Viman Prasanami Arsam Melu Krishna Bhakti Devi Satyavata Ahana Mantra Guru Bhagavatam Yasaya Jaga Ayasi Tarasi Guru Sundar Parama Maja
Shri Krishna
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Sadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Chaya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj ki Jai, Srila Govardhana ki Jai, Jai Salaveda Bhaktivinda ki Jai, the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees. Jai, Gaur Prema, Hari 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 Bol.
Hari
Okay, we're going to go straight to the reading for Prapanna Jivanamrita today. Jai Jayo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribraja Kachaya Asatara Sata Sri Sripad Bhakti Rakshak Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Sant
Hey.
Bhakti Jai.
Jai.
Maharaj, I'm going ahead because I'm thinking of myself, my energy. I'm trying to utilize my energy to the most efficient way possible, since I have little. But what did you want to do? Is it okay if we proceed?
Yes, Maharaj, it is good, Maharaj, to start this.
Yes, okay. You
Yes,
approve? If I have your blessings, then I am.
Maharaj, yes, I am your like instrument.
Okay, then thank you, Maharaj. We're on page, what is that? Page 201?
Page 162.
162, text 39. Are you able to find that in Spanish? Ananda, you have that?
Yes, Maharaj, I have in
Okay.
Spanish.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kaivayat Shreyak Solo Kayadikam Api Nechanti Matsevaya Patitam Te Solokyadi Chatustayam Nechanti Sevaya Puna Utonyat Kala Vaviputam. I think here means Bhagavatam, yes. So it says, Sridhara's comment is that, nor do they aspire even for positive liberation. Maharaj, of course, is talking, this is Prapanna Jivanamrita. So for Das Prabhu, this is a book about Sharanagati. Sharanagati, of course, means surrender. So here, something is being said about the devotee who is aspiring for surrender. It says they do not aspire for even a positive liberation. Solokyadi. Solokyadi means Solokya. In Sanskrit, Solokya means the same place as Krishna. The devotees of Krishna who are totally surrendered unto him do not even desire to go to the same place as Krishna is living. If the Krishna wants them to go there, fine. If the Krishna doesn't want them to go there, that's okay. So it says, the wires and need to aspire for positive liberation, beginning with residence in the Lord's abode, which is infinitely superior to ultimate emancipation of oneness in Brahman. When my dedicated pure devotee never accepts any of the four kinds of positive liberation, Salokya, Samipya, and so forth, even if they avail themselves to him by dint of his service unto me, then why will he ever wish for materialistic enjoyment and ultimate emancipation in Brahman, or Sayuja Mukti, which are very swiftly vanquished by the march of time? By Sayuja Mukti, the soul's eternal status falls into the jaws of death. Thus, sensible enjoyment and monistic liberation will know permanence. Harinanda, you want to read in Spanish?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Maharaj. Ellos ni siquiera ambicionan la liberación positiva que empieza con residir en la morada del Señor, la cual es infinitamente superior a la emancipación final de fusionarse con el Brahman. Si mi devoto puro y dedicado jamás acepta ninguna de las cuatro clases de liberación positiva, salokya, aunque estén disponibles para él en virtud del servicio que me ofrece, entonces, ¿por qué desearía el disfrute material y la emancipación final en el Brahman, Sayugya Mukti, los cuales son rápidamente derrotados por el paso del tiempo? Mediante el Sayukta Mukti, la posición eterna del alma entra en las fauces de la muerte, De modo que el disfrute sensual y la liberación monista no son permanentes. Srimad Bhagavatam. Ay, Maharaj.
Gracias, gracias. Then, so do you know about this Das Prabhu? I don't know if you are aware. This 5 types of liberation, or 4 types of liberation. Mukti means liberation. Mukti means free from the material energy influence. Mukti, to become free from the influence of material energy. So there are, not only is the merging into Brahman considered mukti. Merging into means becoming one with the spirit in an impersonal or general sense. But even this desiring to be with Krishna in the plane where Krishna lives, in Goloka, even desiring that is considered a form of liberation, a form of desire to get out of their present situation. It indicates that within that person who thinks like that, there is not the conception of devotion, of service to Krishna. A pure soul who has no desire for liberation or enjoyment, material enjoyment, neither renunciation nor exploitation, in other words. Bhakti or mukti are other words that are used. Bhakti means sense enjoyment, and mukti means liberation. Those who desire neither enjoyment, exploitation, nor renunciation, they are not pure in their heart. Pure means that they don't have the sole desire of dedication, of devotion, of surrender, of service within their heart. A devotee who wishes only to serve Krishna with no other motivation is someone who doesn't care whether they in the material world or the spiritual world. They know that Krishna is the supreme controller and Lord of all, is their master. And their only purpose of existence is to serve Krishna, to please Krishna. So who knows both of these things? That their purpose is to serve Krishna, and that he is the supreme enjoyer and controller of all things. They are satisfied wherever they are. They may be in hell. It doesn't matter for a devotee. Just like there are so many hellish conditions we can see that come up in our life. So many terrible situations, conflict, confusion, fighting, death and destruction, ignorance, disease, old age, so many unhappy situations that can arise. If one wants to get only free of that, then that is called the desire for mukti, for liberation or renunciation. Those things will never be gone in our life. Life is meant to have both happy and unhappy conditions, because the reality is that we live in a whole, an organic whole. We are members of an organic whole. And in a whole, there is not just one side and not the other side. Otherwise, how it can be whole?
WH.
Huh? WH whole, not a HOLE whole. Within the whole, organic whole, there has to be two sides. Whole means that there are whole and there are parts. That's one contradiction. one conception of opposition that is there within the whole and can't be separated from it. You can't have a whole without parts, and you can't have parts without a whole. But they're opposite conceptions. Likewise, we can't have peace in this world with one side, with all the sides agreeing to one another. That's not a whole. If there's only good and no bad, then good has no meaning and bad has no meaning. And there cannot be any such thing as all good or all bad. Good and bad, right and wrong, this, that, this and that. They are necessary parts of the whole, and without which the whole would not be a whole, not be complete. So there's always contradictions within within life and death. Always contradiction. But that is to be expected. Otherwise, what do we mean by whole? We try to eliminate one side, and then we're in an imaginary existence, and a wrong existence, an unwhole. So devotee does not aspire for this good or bad or happy or unhappy. He accepts whatever is there as the whole, as the expression of the whole. It's complete. But he has another intention. But he has another intention that has nothing to do with the right and wrong, good and bad of the whole, the world as a whole. There is another dimension, a transcendental dimension, upon which a devotee gets his name, devotee, to which he is devoted, to which he is concerned with, and he is concerned to serve, to be a dasa. That is Krishna. If he is serving Krishna, he is happy. He understands my service to Krishna is my only concern. The function of the soul is to serve Krishna. The function of the finite living entity is to serve Krishna. Why? Because he is finite and he is part of the whole. Part of the whole doesn't get its real significance until it is reflecting what its function is within the whole. So the part must serve the infinite. The finite must serve the infinite, because that is its function. And who wants to understand the self or self-realizations? They must accept this point, and they must embrace it. Devotion, love. This is the real significance of the soul, of the relationship between the part and the whole. Excuse me. So a devotee who realizes what he is serves his function. The function of the soul is to love God. The devotee becomes fully satisfied within themselves simply by serving God. And the outer storm that's going on within the world, that is another thing. It's a superficial thing. There's two dimensions in an ocean. There's how wide it is and how deep it is. So on the surface of the ocean, there's always some storm, some tempest, waves and crashing, this and that, and the other thing. Wind and rain, cold and hot. But underneath the surface, deep into the ocean itself, it is very peaceful. The devotees don't only swim on the surface. Bhakti Yoga had a nice term, barbahi. So there are two types, barbahi and sargrahi. Sargrahi means those who dive deep into the ocean to find the essence. Essence is not the superficial things that are going on the surface of the ocean, the waves and so forth. That is not the ocean. People look out at the ocean and they think, oh, it's so rough today, it's this, that, the other thing. That's not the ocean. It's only part of the ocean, the surface, the bharbahi, bodily conceptions. But the depths, the substance, the saragrahi, those essence seekers who want to know the truth, and not just the level of certainty. Certainty means the surface appearance of things. Truth means something deeper than that. Truth is something deeper than mere certainty. People don't know the difference. They believe that what they are certain of, that is the truth. No, this is not the truth. That is not what we mean by truth. There's a difference between certainty and truth. Those who are concerned with their own certainties about things, they're superficial persons. Everything they do, they know exactly. We have that today, especially in America, and all over the world, not only in America. But there are some leaders who are very certain of themselves and assert themselves as if they know everything. And they're the most shallow persons. The most shallow persons that you can imagine. And they are very narcissistic and puffed up. And they think they can do no wrong because they know everything. This kind of people we don't like. We have nothing to do with them. Those who are thoughtful, who want to know things in their art and their heart, the heart of things. There we find it, the person of value. So Bhakti Yoga makes this distinction. And we are trying to follow the teachings, the example of Bhakti Yoga Thakur. And his son, Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he also understood the teachings of Bhakti Yoga Thakur, and he has presented them in the modern world in the form of the Gaudiya Math and its branches, ISKCON and other Chaitanya Saraswati Math that have come from that. But how much are those followers actually recognizing the depth of those teachings? That is another question. We find much discontent in the societies that have grown up on the basis of those teachings, but have become very superficial in a social sense. The society devotees, these Bhaktivinoda called Bhargrahi, bodily conscious devotees, who have missed the Saragrahi, who are missing the essence. It's possible. That's how the living entity became entangled in the first place, by taking the superficial appearance of things and forgetting the essence, or not knowing the essence, or becoming conditioned so that they don't know how to search anymore for the deeper meaning and significance. They don't know how to think. Their thinking function, which is the function of the human being, has become, what do you call it? Dysfunctional, non-functioning. It's like your muscles when they don't use them.
Atrophy.
Atrophy, yes. They have become atrophied because they don't use. What the human being means is he can think, he can reason. Aristotle told the difference between human and animal is that the human is rational. Well, of course, we see animals are very smart too. Seems like they're reasoning. They have everything there for them is instinctive. They can't really think. They could think, they could speak. They make sounds, but they don't have language. They don't have literature. They don't have science. They don't even have history. For us, they have those things, but for them, they don't have those things. They don't have religion. Because these are things that are products of thinking, reasoning. Sometimes devotees come and they say, we don't have to think anymore. Just have to have faith. Yes, you must have faith, but that doesn't say, where does it say you should not think? The problem is their thinking leads them astray. Their thinking is nonsense thinking. Leads them into confusion and lack of faith. Because their thinking is influenced by finite concerns. In that case, we need help. We need help from those who can think deeper than us, but not from leaders who don't think themselves and don't know how to. Intelligence is not something to be renounced. It's the most important function of the human life, form of life. But that intelligence must also be very soundly based, purely based within the heart. The intelligence of how to love, how to entangle itself, entwine itself within the roots of the creeper of devotion, within the roots of the lotus of prema. Then that devotion, that prema has some substantial meaning. Otherwise, mere faith without understanding is not desirable. Prabhupada used to say, what is that?
Religion without philosophy.
Faith without science is blind. And science without faith in God. That is mere imagination, speculation, and not getting to the point at all. Always remain on the surface, not satisfied anything. But faith without science also, that will never get to the depths of things. And it will always be challenged. This faith, you have faith in this, I have faith in that, and we fight together. No resolution will come. It's the surface warfare. Anyhow, Harinanda Prabhu, I'm sorry, I talked a long time, and I did not give you a chance to anything in Spanish.
Yes, Maharaj. For your grace, I will try
Okay,
translate Spanish.
thank you, Prabhu.
El Maharaj está explicando acerca de este verso donde se habla sobre que se está hablando sobre las personas que buscan la liberación, aquellos que se apegan un poco a la liberación de fundirse con el Brahman. Entonces el Maharaja está explicando que la palabra liberación técnicamente en el Veda, en lenguaje védico, significa muti. Muti significa liberación, pero esa liberación no es apropiada para los devotos, porque esa liberación es artificial. ¿Por qué? Es artificial porque esa es una liberación de la energía material. Es una liberación de la energía de material, de Maya. Pero los devotos, no importa, no quieren esa liberación. Al devoto no interesa esa liberación, no busca esa liberación. El Maharaja también estaba explicando que hay otro tipo de liberación, un poco más sutil, más alta, pero también es liberación, que es cuando un devoto puede tener disponible la conexión con Goloka Vrindavana. Ese es un tipo también de liberación, pero el devoto tampoco no piensa en ir a Goloka Vrindavana, no, devoto no piensa en eso, no piensa en eso. El devoto solamente, un buen devoto, verdadero, sincero devoto, piensa una cosa: servir al Guru, servir a los Vaishnavas. ¿Por qué? Porque el Maharaja explica que la función natural del alma es servir. Esa es la función. Esa es la verdadera religión. La verdadera religión, Sanatana Dharma, es esa, la función del alma. Y es servir eternamente, forever, eternamente servir. Esa es la... Devoto no piensa, oh, Mukti, Brindavan, go to Brindavan, Goloka Vrindavana, a los planos superiores. No, devoto no piensa en eso, no piensa en eso. El devoto quiere servir a su maestro espiritual. Gurudev, ¿qué necesita Gurudev? Sirve Gurudev. Gurudev te dice, Harinanda, escribe aquí, que Chava Prabhu aquí. Esa es nuestra función natural. Otro no. Eso es mucho más importante. Maharaj también explicaba que en este plano material siempre hay oposición, opuesto. Día, noche, siempre hay oposición. Este mundo feliz, triste, siempre hay opuesto en este mundo material. Aquí no va a haber una felicidad de ningún tipo, sí, porque siempre hay, en este mundo siempre hay opuestos. Entonces, un devoto lo que sabe eso y tienes que armonizar con todo eso y practicar su servicio devocional con fe. El Maharaja también estaba explicando, hay algunas personas que me dicen, yo no necesito estudiar. No necesito estudiar. Yo tengo fe, solo fe. Maharaja dice, no, cuidado. Fe es importante. Pero también es necesario estudiar. También es necesario que un superior, un agente superior, el guru, te dé el conocimiento. Porque solo, yo tengo fe, no necesito guru, no necesito chastra, no. Yo fe en Krishna. Es un mal camino también. No es correcto. No es correcto. Un Vaishnava, un devoto, sirve al guru, lee la shastra, practica su sadhana, y poco a poco él va practicando, y por la misericordia de los gurus, entonces nosotros vamos aprendiendo. Pero nadie es independiente, solamente independiente es Krishna. Nosotros dependemos de Krishna, nosotros no somos independientes, que podemos fabricar nuestro propio camino espiritual. Yo tengo fe, yo voy a crear mi camino espiritual, voy a hacer esto y esto y esto. No funciona así. Por ejemplo, el Maharaja estaba explicando que, por ejemplo, en el mar, en el océano, va el barco, y en el barco hay lluvia, trueno, y el capitán del barco va llevando, y el barco es sometido a lluvia, sol, noche, a muchas cosas. Siempre hay oposición, pero si hay un buen capitán en el barco, entonces el barco llega a buen lugar, a puerto. Si el capitán del barco es un guru, el guru del capitán, entonces si nosotros seguimos la instrucción del guru, entonces todos vamos por muy buen camino. También el Gurudev habló acerca un poco de Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada Thakur, en el que fue un maestro que expuso todas estas verdades de manera muy profunda, muy profunda. y su principal discípulo, Sri Bhakti Yoga de Goswami Maharaja, el fundador de Sri Chaitanya Saraswati, mantiene esa firme concepción de un plano superior del Sri Chaitanya Saraswati y de Srila Bhakti Madhava, Puri Maharaja, Srila Shanta Maharaja, Sripad Muni Vijnana Maharaja, y todos ellos maestros, nosotros escuchamos a ellos porque tiene el Siddhanta perfecto. No, en el mundo no hay otro, ellos tienen Siddhanta perfecto, y nosotros aceptamos, escuchamos las enseñanzas trascendentales de ellos para poder seguir por un buen camino, porque hay muchos gurús falsos en el mundo, muchos gurús, no todo naranja es gurú, no, gurú no es cuerpo, tampoco no es cuerpo, el gurú no es el cuerpo, el gurú es el siddhanta. El siddhanta, el punto donde el infinito se une con el infinito y se manifiesta a través de personas especiales que son ellos. No todo el mundo es gurú, no todo el mundo es gurú. ¿Cómo saber cuándo es gurú? Es cuando tu corazón te guía, el chante gurú te guía. Este gurú, yo siento la enseñanza de estos maestros. Finalmente, Maharaja habló un poco acerca de la posición de las personas que dicen que no, que solamente tienen fe, no creen en otra cosa. Maharaja ha dicho, nosotros no somos animales. Maharaja dijo, nosotros no somos animales. El animal no tiene arte, el animal no tiene ciencia, el animal no tiene cultura, el animal no tiene lenguaje. No tiene nada. En cambio, el ser humano, sí, el ser humano tiene arte, tiene ciencia, tiene literatura, tiene todo. Tiene escritura, filosofía, tiene todo eso a su disposición para aprender. No, entonces, ¿para qué existe eso? ¿Para qué existe el libro? Solo fe. No es posible. Hay que estudiar, hay que escuchar al gurú, hay que investigar. Y todo ese proceso en conjunto, bajo la guía y la instrucción de Gurú, entonces el camino hacia Krishna es perfecto. Y algún día nosotros vamos a decir, a conectar con ese servicio. Y finalmente el Maharaja habló de un pensamiento de Srila Prabhupada que decía que la fe sin ciencia, o sea, se necesitan mutuamente. La fe sin ciencia es puro, como decir, puro sentimentalismo. Y la ciencia sin religión tampoco es buena porque se convierte como un puro materialismo. Fe, ciencia, religión, todo unido, juntos es importante. Fe solo no, ciencia solo no, religión solo no, filosofía solo no. Todo unido es más importante. Más o menos eso explicó el Maharaja, que es un pensamiento de Srila Prabhupada acerca de ese tópico. Eso es lo que más o menos pude captar en mi mente de un poco las enseñanzas que dijo el Maharaja. ¡Jai Maharaja! Thank you. It's your grace.
Nanda Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Chanta Maharaj ki jai, Sri Puri Maharaj ki jai, Sri Vijnana Muni Maharaj ki jai, all devotees ki jai. Thank you.
Srila Shanta Maharaj, what do you want to say?
Well, Maharaj, actually, what I can say, that word Maharaj, Maya Uparihata Jnana, that's what Prabhupada used to say. So when the illusion takes away the intelligence, then they don't even understand something, so clear. So they call it like owls. They don't see the sun. That is like that. They don't see something very evident in front of them. Actually, this is not now, Maharaj. This was a gradual development of, which was ongoing thing inside the mission that was going on. People are becoming more society oriented from, I think, last more than 1 decade, and so they were, going towards that. And they were no longer interested in, even respecting the varnashram, within the mud. respecting grosthas must respect the sannyasis, and then brahmacharis must respect the sannyasis. They thought, oh, then I'm serving my guru, then I don't have to respect anybody. That type of mentality was prominent actually in people, and that has led to a lot of reactions, and many of them, because of those bad reactions, they have to leave the mission of not honoring properly each other actually. And they sing every day the song Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya, and in that song it is mentioned that Sakale Sanman Korite Sakati Devanadu Jatacha. Please give me the strength so that I can properly honor everyone according to their position. So that is the thing. And then when somebody wants to, what I can say, get some, what I can say, social position, that is as mundane as, getting also some kind of liberation, as it is explained in that verse. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, exploitation is active hostility, and renunciation is passive hostility towards the absolute. And I always, try to give this example of mother and the child. Mother, if takes all the food or the paraphernalia which are meant for baby service for herself, then she may get some reactions, some criticism and things like that because of that exploitative mentality. And to overcome that, if mother commits suicide or just develop a mentality of yogi, seeing the face of the baby whole day, that is not the real position of mother. So our position is to serve Krishna. Anything apart from that, these all things seems to be outcome of anya vilas, other desires, and that is not any suitable position, because it is far from constitutional position. So that's why Rupa Goswami also told bhakti means anna vilasita sunya jnana karmadhyana. So that has to be free from the desire of liberation, for the four types of liberation, that samipyo, sarupyo, salokyo, and sahujyo. And sahujyo is the worst kind of thing, which has no service connection. But others, sometimes devotee may accept for Lord's service in the spiritual world for his satisfaction. But in the mundane plane, some people, they mostly they think that they already in the highest plane by reading some books, and they criticize others who are involved in preaching the simple things which are needed for people to know. As some of them, they criticize our scientific preaching, and they try to tell that there is no rasa in that, and they are drowning in rasa actually. They told like that, and they become ultimately followers of some Babaji in Vrindavan, and like that they went into other directions like that. So I feel that it is quite common in the jivas that they either do exploitation or do renunciation, but only when they come in connection with devotee, then they may get proper attitude and thinking.
Maharaj, could you explain what those four types of liberation mean? Many people don't know.
So that sarupyo, samipyo, salokyo, I think one is sasti, right?
Sayuja.
Sasti?
Sayuja.
Sahujo, yes. Sarupyo means desiring to have the form similar to that of Lord. And salokyo means trying to aspire to get some place in Lord's abode. And samipyo means trying to get some kind of closeness with the Lord, something like that. I know that's what I remember. I'm not sure about the samipya things very clearly.
Sayuja means what?
Sahujya means getting absorbed in the Brahma Jyoti. I mean, eliminating one's own individuality.
It's becoming identical with the Lord, emerging into the body of the Lord.
Yes.
Emerging into Krishna's body. Samipya means closeness.
Yes, I don't know what type of closeness that can be called this type of liberation, because sometimes devotee also aspires to be close to Lord, So maybe it is an interest to becoming close without having considered the interest of Lord.
Yeah, some people want to go back to Krishna Loka, have an intimate relationship with the Lord, like the gopis or Radharani or Balaram, but then they can't think. What if you actually were there in Krishna Loka with Krishna? Then what would you do? You can't do any service here. You want to do service there. What type of service? You're just going to try to enjoy. If we go back to Krishna now, when we're not properly surrendered, we will simply try to enjoy. There won't be any service. We can't even do service to Guru. We're here with Guru and we're interested in so many social activities. But what type of service would you do even to Guru while you're here? You have time for practice, for sadhana. What type of service you are doing? Is it free from any exploitation or desire for liberation? Are you even free from your own self-interest in any way? What kind of service you will do there? You'll be free from egotism, thinking, oh, I am serving Krishna. I am such a big person, such a pure person, a Vaishnava, whatever. First, we have to clear up. What does it mean? How do I become a servant of Guru, servant of Vaishnava, without any other motive? That is a pure heart. And that requires practice under a genuine Guru, an authentic Guru, who has that mentality themselves. How to be a servant, how to be perfectly surrendered soul. To serve such persons, that is our highest benefit. Any questions? Does anyone have any questions? Das Prabhu, Oma Devi, any of the devotees there in Spain? Have any questions? Pariprasna. I was thinking of that today. You know, there's Krishna says, how to learn the truth, huh? What is that? Paripatena, pariprasnena, and sevaya. So everyone comes with a humble mood, paripatena, and they do service, sevaya, but they don't ask any questions. Pariprasna. Huh? They're afraid to ask questions because if you ask questions, then oh, you don't have any faith. You're not a surrendered soul. This is what they tell me. You cannot have any prasna, pariprasna. As soon as you have prasna, then they think, oh, what is wrong with this person? Huh? You're not a surrendered soul. No, we're not to be blind. Krishna tells himself, Tadvidi pranipatena. You want to, Tadvidi means you want to know that. Tad means that, the truth. Tadvidi, you want to know the truth, then you must go under this process. Paripratena pariprasnena sevaya. From the Tattva Darshana, not from just anybody. You don't ask questions just from anybody. You have to ask questions from that Tattva Darshana who has some vision, some realization, some actual living in the relativity of the absolute, and what that is and what that means. This is the kind of prasna. This is the kind of person we want to ask humble questions, not challenging questions. Then we can understand something. substantial. Otherwise, it's all just superficial. Prabhupada used to say, faith by itself can change. He says there are so many people, Christians are becoming Muslims, and Muslims are becoming Hindus, and Hindus are becoming Christians. So faith by itself. Was somebody asking something?
Yes.
Maharaj, I had and then I had the little question.
Who's that?
Das Prabhu has asked a question.
What's the question?
The question is, Dandavat, dear Maharaj, do's and don'ts of Vaishnava etiquette kind of instill fear. How to deal with this?
Okay. Well, Pati Prasna. Pati, that word Pati, Prasna means question, and Pati means humble. So we have to be, first of all, we have to have the kind of respectful questioning and not challenging questioning that goes on in the world today. Everybody thinks they know everything, huh? And if some teacher tells you something, you have the right to challenge them, and you can speak up and express your own point of view without consideration of the other point of view. That's the kind of mentality that there exists in the world today. But we have to understand something, that when we approach Guru, he is not the same as any other person in this world. Guru is not somebody who's come up and says, I am the Guru, you have to listen to me, what I tell you is the truth. That's not Guru. Guru is a function of the absolute. Means is not a function of this world. The living entities of this world have their functions, have their purposes. And we can talk to one another as equals. But when you approach Guru, that is no longer just to be considered another person like any other person. Guru is assigned his position and is given his authority through the absolute himself. Krishna says in the scripture, Acharya Mangli Janiyat. It means that I am the Guru. I appear, just as Krishna appears in his own form, Sarup Bhagavan, just as it comes in, as Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He also appears in the form of Guru. Just as much as he appears in his own form, he appears in the form of Guru. And if we see Guru in that way, then we will not be approaching in a adverse way, in an improper way. We don't have to fear Guru. We have to appreciate. Guru doesn't demand our respect, he commands our respect. And if we have the proper conception of Guru like that, as what is the function, as a functional representative of God, then we will have the proper approach. We'll be able to inquire in a proper way, and Guru will appreciate the kind of inquiry we have and try to help us. That is the function of Guru. Guru is Krishna coming to give us some mercy. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada. By the mercy of Guru, we get Krishna. By the mercy of Krishna, we get Guru. There's a reciprocation there. And we have become part of that reciprocation once we understand properly that Guru is not to be considered in an ordinary way. Now, I don't know, who you are finding that feeling of fear. What did he say? The question again?
The do's and don'ts of Vaishnava etiquette, which means not only with Guru, but the other Vaishnavas too.
Yeah.
That the do's and don'ts of Vaishnava etiquette instill fear, how to navigate that kind of situation.
Well, that's for the initial, the Kanishta, the beginners. They may have some think like some thought like that. I don't know the individual, the situations that you find yourself in, but I think the if we have the right respectful attitude toward Guru and approach humbly, then I don't think that fear will be there. There will be a very natural exchange, between Guru and disciple. If it's all done affectionately. And we will find, oh, here's my real friend, Guru. You'll find someone who is very dear to us, just as Krishna is very dear to us. Guru becomes very dear to us.
What about the other Vaishnavas?
Other Vaishnavas, that other Vaishnavas are to help us. They may be there, they may be helpful, and they may not be helpful. So we have to see in our own hearts what helps us make progress in our spiritual life and what detracts from that, and try to go toward the favorable side, where we can intelligently and openly deal with one another. Yes, Maharaj.
Maharaj, there was a devotee who was Pujari here, and he moves with, I think, Niryo Maharaj these days. His name is Abhay. Yeah, Abhay means fearless, right? Abhay Das is given. So I was talking to him initially when I came after Srila Acharya Maharaj's disappearance here. I was telling him, what is the meaning of your name? I asked him, telling fearless. So do you think that it is necessary to have fear? No, it is not necessary. But I told that Narottam Das Thakur is saying that he is in fear. Narottama, dekhi suni lage bhoy, taraiya loho nijo pas. Narottam Das Thakur is saying, seeing in this material world so many things like this kam, krodh, lobha, moha, madha, mascharya, and how this nature of material world is working. So I am becoming, very much afraid. So, oh Vaishnav, please take me with you. So having that fear is also very good. Not that we should always be fearless. We should have some fear. That is also good in the sense of our attachment or carefulness. Like Bande mui savadana motte. Carefully we serve. So that is also okay, as Narottam Das Thakur expressed.
Yes, of course. Harinanda Prabhu, what did you want to say?
I have done a question. First question is, I read teaching the Srila Bhakti Goswami Maharaj. He expressed a little story about General Alexander Magno, Alejandro Magno. Alejandro Magno, he's in the place nudo gordiano, nudo, no? Alejandro, big entonces, aquí, ¿no? Alexander General Magnus Grace General Military in the play legend this one person no nude is king of the world, but nothing is nudo. Entonces Alejandro Magno, espada, ya, no nudo. Entonces, Srila Rakshak de Goswami Maharaj explain, is better, no is better formalist, is better substantialist. The question is, Maharaj, you can explain about difference between formalist people and substantialist people.
People who,
Understand?
can you explain about people who prefer form versus people who perform? Prabhu, the difference between people who like form, who prefer the outer form, formality, and then or people who prefer the inner substance.
Yes.
In general or anything specific?
In the Vaishnava society, in the Vaishnava society are people or reglement or regla. It's important, but no, it's important regulation all that, pero it's formalism. It's substantialism, is law, es espontáneo, es, no sé si es raga bhakti, the formalist people and substantialism people. Understand me, Prabhu?
Comprendo.
Ah, gracias.
Some people who are super hardcore about regulative bhakti, and then other people who acknowledge the importance of regulation, but are a little looser because, you know, for reasons of it might not be the sweetest mood all the time. So he just wants to hear about that, what you think about that.
Well, there is sadhana bhakti. In the beginning stages, we should be concerned about following the proper etiquette, proper rules and regulations. That's a little relaxed in the higher forms of bhakti, but we shouldn't be so relaxed that we are making offense or that we don't understand the essence of what we're doing. There are different moods, no doubt. ISKCON, as a member of ISKCON, I know the type of mentality the devotees had toward one another and toward everything in general. And there can be very affectionate exchanges between the devotees there. And also in the Chaitanya Saraswat month, the kind of mood that was prevalent there. I find the main difference is that in the month, the service mood was very strong. Seems the devotees had that mood more than anything I found even in my time in ISKCON. Although devotees in ISKCON are very sincere and dedicated, that kind of service mood that I saw in the mutt, specifically when Sridhara Maharaj was there, was like nothing I had ever experienced before. They were so interested in service, so intense in their service mood, that I felt embarrassed. I felt embarrassed. These devotees want to serve me so much, and I don't have that same mood. I wanted to serve, of course, but the way they were was like very high serving intensity that I was aspiring for myself. I myself wanted to have that. So much so that I felt very fallen soul, very uncomfortable in the way that I could not reciprocate at the high level of dedication they had, even for myself, as not just another Vaishnava, but another devotee. So I think there's we can't arrange the kind of situation we want to be in. Krishna arranges for us the different types of situations we find ourselves in. And we just have to trust that whatever situation we're in, he is there, he is guiding everything, and he knows what our sincere attitude toward him is, and what purification we need in our own lives in order to come to a higher stage of realization, in order to make spiritual progress. So we can see it like that and try to live with the situation we have. And it's also possible that Sridhara is told, and when we were transitioning from ISKCON to the Chaitanya Saraswat Mutt, he said it is possible that we have to leave one situation and go to another, just as is found in the Gopa Kumar, in the Srimad Bhagavatamrita. That in his progress in spiritual life, he had to leave one place and all the wonderful devotees in order to go to the next stage. There he found again many wonderful devotees in a different situation. But still, he kept feeling a dissatisfaction and going from one place to the next to the next. That's called progress. Progress means accepting and rejecting. So that was also possible. We have to consider within our own hearts, what am I doing? Is that fulfilling my spiritual interest or not? Is it giving me nourishment or not? And I don't know. The fear, at one point, fear is part of the material existence. Vaikuntha, for instance, is a place without fear. So according to how much we have progressed in our own spiritual life, we may be in a position where they're looking for something that is more amenable, more compatible with our present consciousness and serving that consciousness, giving us encouragement and nourishment in the situation we find ourselves in. Or if we need something more suitable to our condition. So if the society, I remember Sridhara told that you are leaving the society, the international society, but you want to keep the Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada called ISKCON the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He says, you can give up the society, but you can't give up the Krishna consciousness. Here's the main thing. If the society doesn't fulfill the cultivation of our Krishna consciousness, then we can give up the society. And not that society should take precedence over the Krishna consciousness. There are different places you find in the Bhagavatamrita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, different levels. Sridhara called it the subjective evolution of consciousness. So if the society does not help us in our progress, Rupa Goswami has given us already permission. It says to accept what is favorable and reject what's unfavorable. It may be that the society that we are in does not fulfill our highest spiritual needs. Then it is okay to consider where can I find that? Where can I find it? If we happen to find other Vaishnavas or another society in which Krishna consciousness, as we are trying to understand it, is found, then we must also go there. That is also for spiritual progress. So these are very difficult things actually for a devotee to do, because we're weak, we're also neophytes, and we rely on others to help us, seniors and so forth. We rely on that. Without that kind of reliance, we are nowhere, because we don't have the deeper knowledge to understand what is our actual position. So I would say, well, we have to judge always. Where am I? Where do I want to go? What is the path to get there? Sambandha abhidaya prayojan. Where am I? What am I at? What do I want to get to? And how do I get there? These things should always be on our mind. And by Krishna's arrangement, and not by our own arrangement, by Krishna's arrangement, sometimes we come in contact with another conception, another guru, or another society. And if they have something valuable to give us, why are we afraid to look into that? They become interested in that. Why? Anyhow, these are matters between your heart and Krishna. Krishna knows what's in our hearts, and he is helping us, no doubt. The Lord is always interested in us, watching us progress from here to there. The Maharaja used to say, God overhead and heart within. God overhead and heart within. Means you always keep your eye on the Lord, but from your sincerity of your heart, you have to go on in the world. And you may do things that you never imagined you would do. But still you have to follow your heart. Sincerity. And the Lord is not unaware. The Lord is not unintelligent. He is the most intelligent. He knows all. And he helps us in our progress. I should say in our stumbling. We think we are doing everything, but he is actually doing everything. He's guiding us at every step. Even when we feel most unattached or most abandoned by him, he is there with us. Chaitanya Guru, Paramatma, Krishna is always there. Difficult, no doubt.
Understand, Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Understand. Thank you. No, second question, Maharaj, pero no, time I don't know. It's late. I have other question. You can or next week.
He's asking if we have time for one more question or if you want to wait until next week.
What's the question?
Pregunta.
Okay. Maharaj, philosopher Alemán Hegel explained the tres topic concept: thesis, synthesis, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. This concept is similar in Vaishnava philosophy. How people can apply practices this knowledge in your spiritual life. Topic, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. How a devotee get this knowledge in practice in your spiritual life? Is that possible or no?
Yes, of course. Not only is it practical, it's essential. It is what we are made of. The spiritual life is made up of this process of thesis, antithesis, synthesis. As I was explaining before, we cannot think that the world is only going to be one-sided. There's always going to be thesis and antithesis, always. And that's necessary for the world to be a whole. That's what we mean by the world, the whole world. So these are always fighting that's going on. That's not a problem. How do we synthesize? We don't, at the level of the opposition, you can't find a synthesis. There's no synthesis at the level of the opposition, of one thing opposite than another. One thing conflict with another. It means, the conflict means that there are two sides. That's okay. We don't want a world in which everybody thinks the same way I do. And I don't want a world in which I have to think the same way everybody else does. Nobody wants that. We're individual, we're different. And that's part of Krishna's creation. So how do we come to a higher synthesis in such a situation? Well, the point is, each one are part of a whole. Politicians, political parties, they are opposed to one another. Yet somehow they have to get together, work together to form the state. So like in America, we have a Republican and Democratic Party. And they are at war with one another. They are loggerheads with one another. So what do? They are in the Congress together, and they are opposed to one another. Yet how do they come together? How do they help the country stay together and organized? They have to recognize that despite the fact that they are opposed in different parties, they have to recognize that, wait a minute, we are Americans. We are a part of America. We're a part of the USA. And that is what it means. That party spirit has to be adjusted with a higher conception that we are part of something together. And though the whole has its opposing parts, the fact is that they are both part of the whole. And the whole is the unifying principle that's already there. The background of the opposing positions. So we have to go deeper than the opposition and see the unity that's behind what the opposing parties, the fighting parties, that is there behind the opposing parties. What is that unity that is behind them? And we have to come to another level of awareness. And that requires proper thinking, conception, and understanding. Not only your own side, but the other side as well. And seeing what the common elements are. And trying to come to that higher, more harmonious conception. And the highest harmony is found in love. Love conquers over all oppositions. So it actually, these conflicts help to improve our love, help to us understand what love is, true meaning of love, and not just some kind of selfish meaning. Now we could go into all details about that, but anyhow, that's another topic. But that's my reply for now. And I hope Das Prabhu also had some satisfying answer to his question. Who's that other yes, what?
Shant Maharaj.
Oh, Shant Maharaj.
My computer has some problem. It
Okay.
hanged.
Maharaj, do you have anything to say? I'm about at the end of my speaking ability here.
Which one, Maharaj?
I'm going to have to sign off soon, but I'm asking if you have anything to say.
No, Maharaj, no.
Okay. My Dandawat.
Dandawat Pranam, Maharaj. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivar Jagat Guru Sri Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Haribo. Dandava.